Steve Gupta is a Canadian business tycoon. Starting and developing the Easton's group of companies was a hard job for Gupta, and it took a lot of time, patience, and keen business sense. As a developer of hotels, apartment buildings, and restaurants, Gupta has garnished much recognition in his field. He and his company have won awards such as the Business Excellence Award for Entrepreneurship, the International Hotel of the Year Award, the Canadian Hotel of the Year Award, and the Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year Award. Gupta started the company 30 years ago when he was still a new immigrant, arriving to Canada with a little over $100 with him. He has developed his company to be worth more than $50 million. He doesn't take his success for granted though. Knowing the effort it took him to get where he is, he mentors students, new immigrants, and anybody looking to emulate his success. He also gives a lot of time and money for various charities in the community. Join me, Bina Pandya, after the break as I go one-on-one with Steve Gupta.
I think children has to know the values that God is there, and they be good humans, and that's the key, and look after other people, help whoever they can, whoever's in need. We can't help everyone in the world, but we can help some people.
Welcome to One-on-One, and joining me, I have business mogul Steve Gupta with me here. Steve, welcome to One-on-One.
Thank you very much.
You are an immigrant success story here.
Well,
Where did your journey begin, though? I mean, you didn't grow up here. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Punjab, India, a small city called Patiala. Is very well known for the princes and the kings over there. It's about 150 miles north of Delhi. And I came here in '71.
What brought you here?
I had a lot of relatives in England, and they always talk about things about how England was and how West is, and I just wanted to come and see what happens here. There's a lot of, how should I say, rosy stories that we read, and I came as a visitor. I stayed in England and toured Scotland,
Right.
all over England, 2 months, and then I came over here.
When you came to Canada, what were you expecting?
No, I came just for a visit for a month, and then I was supposed to go back. 2-3 days later, I talked to some friend. They were saying, "Oh, you can't get immigration here. You'll be denied, and you'll be waiting in the line for 3 years or so." So I got a little bit. I said, "Okay, I'm going to show you that I can get it." I went at 480 University of New applied for immigration, and I got it in 3 weeks.
So when you came here, you were all on your own?
All my own.
And what were your grand plans at that time, being here all on your own?
Well, once I got immigration, I said I'm going to try. I sent half of my ticket back to my father,
Right.
and I said I'm going to try it for a year or so. Then we'll see what happens. And I wanted to study, but that wasn't the way to go. I had done my bachelor in science, and then I studied for a master's in mathematics for 2 years at Kurukshetra University. But I thought, I wanted to make money. I wanted to get into business. I tried to sell real estate. I couldn't, because I had to be here for 1 year before I get the license. So I got into insurance, selling insurance. So that's how I started. Then a year later, I went back, got married, came back again. And since then, I've never turned back.
So your first job was selling insurance?
Yep.
How difficult was it to get that first job?
At that time, getting wasn't difficult. I had to write a test, and I passed very easily. And but getting insurance was difficult, because those days I didn't know anybody here, and I literally knocked doors. I went to anywhere in an apartment building. I get in once, somebody was going in, and I sneaked in after them, and go and knock doors and ask people, "Give me 10 minutes of your time, I'll make it worthwhile for you." And once I explained them, I was very good in sales. So within 1 year, I was the best salesman in the branch. And they sent me to San Diego, first class trip paid, which I cashed in, and took my wife with me at economy class instead. So.
At least you took her with you. That's the important thing.
Yes, absolutely.
But what did you learn from your first sort of hardships, your first job here? What were the most valuable things that came out of it?
Well, Like I said, a lot of negative stories I heard from people. Maybe they felt that I was better than them, or I don't know why. But anyway, and if somebody gives me a challenge, I'll want to go and take and do it. I always believe that I can achieve better than somebody else. I've never felt jealous about anybody, but I will think that if he can do it, I can do it too.
All right, now you started off selling insurance. Obviously you did well if you were getting these paid vacations and that. Why did you decide to move on from there? Why not stay in something that's comfortable and cushy?
No, because I never wanted to just make living and live for the heck of it like most people do. Go to a job and make money, enough money, and work 8 hours or 10 hours a day, and that's the end of it. I never wanted to do
But
that.
didn't you want stability? You now have a wife.
Well, I did, but I wanted to achieve something more than, and it's very hard to describe. I had that vision or the willpower inside me that I always believed that I'm going to do something big. I'll have a few hundred employees when I was in grade 11. And when I walk into my office, people will say, good morning, And with God's grace, I've been able to do that.
Then with the insurance, then how did you make the decision though to move on? Like, was it hard?
I saved a little bit of money and I started buying real estate and selling and here and there, whatever I could get. And in 1978 was my first break. I bought a big service center on Highway 401 in Port Hope. It's about an hour or 60 miles east of here. And they had 65 employees. And when I was looking at it, a lot of my personal relatives said, you can't do this. I mean, how are you going to control 65 Canadians working here? You come from India, you have no experience. I said, I'll show it to you. So I did. I bought it, and it has been Canada's largest service center. And I envisioned at that time, it was a dry area. I don't know if you know what dry area means, but you couldn't sell liquor there.
But you still made a success.
Yes, I did.
Well, coming up after the break, we're going to follow Mr. Gupta's road to success.
Thank you.
Welcome back to One on One with Mr. Steve Gupta. Mr. Gupta, you started off insurance, graduated there, bought your first business, and then you still weren't satisfied.
Nope.
Where did you progress on to from there?
I got on to big real estate, buying apartment buildings. In 1983, I started buying buildings, and 86 was my big break. I had a call at 11:30 at night in January of 86. And one agent was in a bar. He says, you want to buy 2,500 apartment units? I say, yeah. He says, you have to go and see them tonight.
2,500? Most of those can't even get one.
2,500 units.
Okay.
So I said, okay. He says, you have to come and go and see them now. I said, I won't go and see them now, but you come here first. I want to see the numbers. If I like the numbers, then I'll go and see them. It's okay. So he says, get a coffee pot ready. And 12:30, they arrived at my home. We worked until 4:30 a.m. in the morning. I looked at the numbers, and I said, okay, I'm in. And 6 o'clock, he sent a car to pick me up, and I went to see the properties in Hamilton, Brampton here, on Kennedy and Steeles here,
yes,
all the way on Rambler Drive. There were 1,000 units here, 600 in Hamilton, 1,000 in Toronto. It was Peter Pocklington's package. And by 11 o'clock, I put an offer with another group, and $59.7 million we bought it.
Wow. So you really do think big.
Well, it happened that way, but the idea is that opportunity knocks your door. If you don't open the door, it's going to go elsewhere. And 11:30 at night on a wintry night in the third week of January, opportunity knocked, and I took advantage of it. And I didn't say, no, I'll see it tomorrow morning.
And then how did you end up in the sort of hotel line and hotel industry?
Well, like I said, in grade 11 back home in India, I always dreamt of making a big 5-star hotel. And today it's very hard to build 5-star hotels. They're economically, they're not viable.
Right.
So like you can see here in Brampton, I built this courtyard by Marriott, and Mayor Susan Fallon asked me many times, and Neil Davis asked me a few times that, if I'm William Davis's son, that if I would build a full 5-star hotel. I said, no, nobody will, but I can give you the second best. And I built this hotel.
Why did you choose Brampton?
I felt Brampton is a good, vibrant city, north of Toronto. Mississauga was already expanded, and all the business from here was going to the airport. And they had no other way of going other than having limited service hotels only. So we provided a full meeting facility, conference center for 400 people, 5,000 square feet, and another 1,000 square feet in small meeting space that Brampton didn't have. Now people don't have to travel back to Toronto or airport or to Mississauga.
Now, you've won numerous awards, for your hotels, but more importantly, your entrepreneurial skills, shine. And you've been honored for that too. Where do you think your drive comes from?
The drive comes from within you, a sense of achievement, and I have a muscular enthusiasm that if I feel that something I can do, I will do it. I will not settle down until I get it done. And this willpower is within you, that you have this feeling that I can do it.
But are you ever afraid of failure, or of taking too big of a risk?
Well, everybody is. Failure is always part of life, and I've tried to do something that I couldn't do, but I see overall I have more successes than failures, and that's how I am where I am.
Do you have a team behind you, or is it you yourself?
No, great team. I got 700 staff now. That's like my family. And my family works with me. My wife works with me as senior vice president, and my 2 daughters are working with me right now. And one is Rima is the director of operations. Ritu is the director of sales and marketing. She's going into MBA program this coming year. And then my 3rd daughter also wants to do MBA finance, and my son, youngest one, wants to be a lawyer, and hopefully we'll have every angle covered, going forward for our company.
Well, it seems like business really does run in your family. And after the break, I'm going to ask Mr. Gupta what makes a good businessman or businesswoman. Welcome back to One on One with Mr. Steve Gupta. Mr. Gupta, you are a successful businessman. Would you say in order to be a success in business, whether it be real estate, hotels, like anything, it is imperative that you have an MBA or you go to an Ivy League school?
Not really. I can give you a small example. I was talking with some of my friends sitting there. They said, we were talking about should I send my daughter to Harvard. He says, you and I never got Harvard degrees, but we are doing better than most of the people. I think education gives you the basis to read and write and understand and know your values, maybe calculate your risks. But you need experience. You need physical experience, which even as MBA, they do give you some experience, but eventually once you get in the field, that's where you learn. And that is what more important. MBA helps, there's no question about it. But if you say without that nobody can do it, Honestad is grade 8, I think, and he did very well for himself. And there are a lot of other people that they never went to real school, let's put it at university, and they did very well.
What do you think makes a successful businessman or a successful businesswoman?
It's the drive within them, the vision and passion for hard work, which is most important, and sense of achievement. And these are the ingredients that makes anybody successful. And I say success is a journey, continued journey, and it's not a destination. If somebody feels, okay, I've achieved this and that's it, to me, that's not the end. I want to carry on, because whatever I've achieved is going to be there for hundreds of years, and the jobs are created for good, permanent jobs.
But as a CEO, and in particular because you do own commercial real estate, residential, hotels, can you tell me, a hotel is a tough business, it's a service industry. How can you ensure quality?
Ensuring quality is a lot of attention to detail, and it is a tough business. Every business is tough. But we try to, we under-promise and over-deliver. That's my policy, and I provide 5-star facility and service for 3-star price. And every one of my hotel is at that time is the top in its brand. Like this hotel, Courtyard, out of 650 hotel was declared best in North America. My Hilton Garden Inn Open in Vaughan is declared the best out of 300 hotels of the Hilton family in North America. And I put my heart and soul into each one of my projects. I try to make sure that every small detail is looked after.
Mm-hmm. Do you ever fear downturns in the economy, that people might stop traveling? You might get, what if we had another 9/11? What if we had a SARS? How is it going to affect your industry, your empire?
Well, yes, we all do, and with the downturn. But I calculate myself, and I do not overload my properties. Overloading means I do not put too much debt on the property, mm-hmm. and I know where my break-evens are, and even if business, the amount of business that we have today may not be there, we can still survive. And I've tried to brace myself accordingly.
In your corporation, your business environment, who has the final say in making decisions?
I do.
You do?
Yes.
It's always good to be a CEO.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I have a lot of help. I have my staff there to guide and do the analysis and whatnot. But I still, it is all, like I said, experience. I always give this example. If you know Mahabharata, and there were so many people. Arjun was only
right.
one, and his teacher, Dronacharya, was asked by his son. He says, "You're giving better education to Arjun, not us." And he says, "No, you're wrong. I gave you the same education, but you were satisfied with that education. But Arjun took that as a basis, and he continued researching more and more, and that's why he knows better than, or he's better than you, and continued experience." And that's exactly what I believe in. That's exactly what I've done. Carry on, keep on doing. If you give me a project, I'll continue working on it in different angles. Buying a property is not difficult.
Well, hold that thought there, and after the break, we'll continue on with Mr. Steve Gupta. Welcome back to One-on-One with Mr. Steve Gupta. Mr. Gupta, as you were saying, buying a property is not as easy as everybody thinks. It's not just sort of putting that little down payment down. There's a lot more that goes into it.
Absolutely. It's how you structure the deal, how much mortgage you get, how much first mortgage you get, a second mortgage you get, and how the debt is structured. There are a lot of factors to achieve the same results or better results, and that's where the expertise come in.
A lot of research, a lot of planning, so it's not just sort of kind of getting excited and saying, this is what I want to have.
The simple fact is you pay cash and then you get the property. I mean, you can do it that way too.
What do you dream of doing in the future?
Sorry?
What do you dream of doing in the future?
Well, my dream is carry on the way it is for next 10, 15 years and take my company to $1 billion company, and then I pass it on the reins to my kids, my children. So hopefully they'll multiply it even more.
What are you hoping to teach your children?
Good values for work, hard work, and give back to the community. And I've tried to do that in the last 30 years. I've served on many hospital boards, CNIB board, and I'm on St. Michael's board now, and try to do some fundraisers. We are doing a senior citizens home for Vishnu Temple, and I'm chairing the board right now, and we'll get it built before next Diwali. That's our mandate.
Is religion a very important part of your life?
I think our religion is one of the oldest religions. Yes, I believe so. God is one, and as long as you believe in God, and I think children has to know the values that God is there, and they be good humans, and that's the key. And look after other people, help whoever they can, whoever's in need. We can't help everyone in the world, but right. We can help some people, and we try to do that.
As a successful businessman, are you always thinking about business, about work, or do you have time to yourself?
I try to take a couple of weeks off, one in summer and one near Christmas, with my children to spend time together.
And what do you, like family time, how do you spend that? Just during the week, during the day?
During the day, everybody has their schedule. I have to have a meeting with my children, and they're busy. They have their schedule. They go to university, working, doing things. It is difficult, but on the weekend we try to have at least one meal together, the whole
right.
family.
What advice could you give to somebody who wants to start out in any type of business?
I say whatever business you want to start, that analyze it properly. And if you are unable to analyze, I would say get some consultants to do that for you. And once you feel that yes, it is a viable situation, then go in with. A lot of people, I feel that they make a mistake. They feel over optimistic about doing or buying something, and then they just go invest their money. They end up losing this money, and they don't get proper advice. So they can get advice, either paid advice or free advice from people from the community. And I'm sure I've helped a lot of people who have come to me for advice, and I try to give it. I can't spend 24 hours a day, but
Right.
I have helped a few people.
Are you ever amazed at the success that you've achieved? I mean, we all dream of doing great things, of becoming somebody great as a child.
Well, when I was younger, yes, I did. And like I said, it's within you. And I had this feeling, but I didn't know whether I get where I am. But I want to go further. I had some dreams to, let's say, build a big home on Bridle
Right.
Path, which I did. And a dream to own some big hotels, which I did. I had another dream that I won't tell you now. And hopefully that will be fulfilled too. For me, getting awards is an achievement. For me, achieving something, building something, and creating some jobs is an achievement. That's my humble way of giving back to Canadian economy or Canada. That Canada has been good to me, and I came to this country, and a lot of opportunities were given to me. And in India, I mean, there are 1 billion people. There are a lot of competition there. Here, there are only 27 million people, so competition is a little bit less. But I worked hard.
Who's had the biggest influence on you during your life?
Every successful and famous person. I have followed life stories of all the presidents of America, some of the big movie stars, and a lot of the leaders over here in Canada, like Trudeau's and whatnot. What I kind of research is how did they start? What was in them? Why were they different than anybody else? And that's exactly what I like to do.
Well, obviously you researched these people very well, because you are a success.
Well, I'm very small as compared to them, but I've tried.
Well, thank you for being here on One on One.
Thank you very much for the opportunity, and it was a pleasure.
And that wraps up another episode of One on One. I hope to see you next time.